Okay, today I want to talk about responsibility and taking responsibility for your life. One thing that I find a lot is people, as I talk to them, they either feel like they are, yes, taking responsibility for their life, or no, they're not, or other people are not taking responsibility for their life. One thing that I find with all successful people I meet, the level at which somebody can take responsibility for their life is the level at which they're going to be successful in life. So let me give you a for instance of that. When I was first younger, I was doing door-to-door sales. I had the opportunity to take responsibility for the fact that I sucked at door-to-door sales. As I sell and I'm trying to learn how to sell and getting to know what I'm doing, the first thing I want to do is I want to blame people. I want to blame, hey, nobody's home today. I want to blame, hey, nobody's interested in Dish Network or DirecTV. Hey, I have all these items that I want to blame people with. And I have to make a decision. Am I going to blame outside sources, or am I going to learn how to be successful? Well, ultimately, I made the decision that I would blame myself and learn how to get better, and I did that. As I then grew a team, I then had a team of 10, 15 guys that were looking up to me, and they were not good salespeople. And when I first started doing that, I started saying, this is their fault. They're bad salespeople. They don't work hard enough. They don't do this. They don't do that. And again, I have the opportunity to continue blaming the people, or the opportunity to blame myself and learn how to get better at it. The reason this is important is because that trend has gone from the beginning of my life all the way to where I am now, always with new opportunities to take more responsibility for my life. And that's where I find that taking responsibility for your life isn't just a yes, you do it, or a no, you don't do it. It's a level at which you do it. If you really look at anything in your life that you're not being successful at, the first thing you're going to find is really something that you're not taking responsibility for. If you have a bad relationship, if you're not getting what you want out of your businesses, if you're not, any part of your life that you are not getting what you want out of, you're going to find a place where you're not taking responsibility for your life. That's important. And so I have a few questions that you can ask yourself. What percentage of the time do you feel that you're taking responsibility for your life? Is it 0% of the time? Is it 100% of the time? Is it 90% of the time? What percentage of the time do you feel like you're taking responsibility for your life? Another question. How many things have to go wrong before you start blaming other things for the circumstances in your life? Can you have a few bad things happen to you and still take responsibility? Can you have 20 things go wrong and you still take responsibility? Can you have one thing go wrong and you start blaming other people and not taking responsibility? That's a very big question that you need to be able to answer for yourself. Can you be in a certain circumstance where something's happening and the kids start freaking out, or something starts going wrong, or a business thing starts going right? Are you the first one to say, everyone did their job wrong? Or are you the first to say, okay, I caused that, I created that? Here's another question that I have for you. When you're looking at it, if your percentages, let's say your percentages, you feel like, yeah, 90% of the time I'm taking responsibility for my life. Most of the time I'm taking responsibility for my life. The one thing that I want to be really clear with today, there are so many people, there's a quote by Art Williams, and it says, almost is a way of life to almost everybody in the world. And I find that everybody does this, where they get to about 90% of what they want to do, or they're taking responsibility of their life 90% of the time. But they don't quite see the full value of that last 10%. One thing that I found really early in my life is it's that last 10% that is where you're really making your money. It's where your relationships are really getting better. It's where your businesses are really growing. It's that last 10% that you really find value in what you're actually doing. And that's what you really need to assess is, are you into the 90 percentile? Do you see value in the last 10%? I hope this video helps, guys. If you go around and you look at people who are successful, this is the one thing you're going to find in common with all of them in their relationships, or if you find people with successful relationships, or successful in their businesses, or successful in the things they're doing, they've learned how to take 100% responsibility all the time. I'll tell you a story about my mom real quick, and this is an important story. When my mom was younger, when we were younger, she was in a car accident. And she was hit, the cars came to a slower and slower stop. The cars came, and everybody came to a stop. And eventually, the person who was behind her did not see a stop, and they ran into the back of her. Now, my mom could have blamed. My mom could have said, that guy's an idiot. What was he doing? He ran into me. And he ended up actually causing her a little bit of short-term memory loss. So she could have blamed him. But instead, she set a good example for us as kids. And she said, you know what? I decided to drive on the freeway that day. I decided that I know there's inherent risk being on the freeway every single day. And yes, I know there's inherent risk. But yes, now, even though there's this inherent risk, and there was inherent risk and I did get hit by the car, I still have the ability to take responsibility for that, see that I made a choice, see that I'm the one that did it, and be able to choose that, hey, I am going to continue using the freeway, and there is an inherent risk. One other question I have for you guys is if in your perceived mind, what percentage, let's say you're in an argument with somebody or something's going that you don't like, and let's say it's 99% their fault and 1% your fault. Can you still take responsibility like it's 100% your fault? Those are some of the questions I want you guys to ask and a way to help you really reassess, are you taking responsibility for your life?